And what I mean by that, so far every problem we've done is working forward. I give you the radius, you find the area. I give you the diameter, you find the circumference. I give you all the sides, you find the perimeter. So it's always, I give you the smaller numbers, you find the final number. Today we're going to work backwards. I'm going to give you the area. You might have to tell me the radius. Okay, so we're going to work the other way. Okay, so in your packet, we are on page 9. Okay, so page 9 of your packet. So everybody should go to page 9. Okay, and we're going to start with these problems. Okay, so here are some equations. Okay, and these are just equations. We have solved the equations already this year. You may have forgotten. It may have been a while, but we've done this. Okay, so let's talk about these equations. And let's start with this one here. Okay, 4h equals 24. If I'm going to solve that, what's the first thing I need to do? You guys remember when we're solving equations, what's the first thing I've told you you have to do? Before we do any math, what do? Oh no. Nobody remembers? Draw a line by the equal sign? Oh, look how quickly it comes back to you. Okay, so draw a line by the equal sign. Now, our goal is to get the variable by itself. That's our goal. So I need to be able to get rid of the 4. How do I get rid of the 4? How do you get rid of it? Krista?
Wait, no, division.
Division, right? When the 4 and the h are next to each other, that means multiply. So we're going to divide each side by 4. So we get h equals 6. Okay? And yes, I know, some of you knew that in your head already, right? 4 times what gives you 24? Okay? But when our numbers aren't so nice, that's not always so easy to do in our head. So you have to know the process. Okay, so go to the second one. Draw a line by the equal sign, because that's what we're always going to start with. Drawing that line by the equal sign. Okay. Now, in this case, we've got a couple of steps to do. First of all, the variable has a best friend. Do you remember what the variable's best friend is? Do you remember talking about this? They're kind of coming back to you a little bit. What's the variable's best friend in this case? Friendly? Not the 2. The best friend's always right next to it. All right, best friends don't leave each other's side. So the letter's best friend is the 5. They stay together. Okay. We need to get rid of the 2. The 2 is not the best friend. So they have to go away. How do I get rid of dividing by 2? Caleb? Multiply each side by 2. Okay, so then we have 5b equals 20. And now the best friend has to be alone. We have to get rid of the best friend. How do we get rid of the 5? This means multiplying. What's the opposite of multiplying, Caleb? Divide by 5. So b equals 4. Okay. Last one. Draw a line by the equal sign. Okay, this time. I think Karina's in this hour. No, she's not. She's in my next class. I'll admit her and tell her that. On this last one, let's add first. What's 5 plus 7? 12. And now we need the variable by itself. How do I get rid of the 12? It says plus 12, so then we have to subtract 12. So x equals 6. Does it feel like we're doing geometry right now? No, what does it feel like we're doing? Algebra, right? This is all algebra, but guess what? It's actually geometry. Here's why. This first problem is base times height equals area. It's a rectangle. The base of the rectangle was 4. We found the height. Okay? The second problem was height times base divided by 2 equals area. It was the area of a triangle. We just found the base of the triangle. And this last problem was perimeter. Side plus side plus side equals the perimeter. So it was a triangle that we had to find the missing side. So we were really doing geometry. You guys just didn't know it. Okay, so that's what we're going to look at today. So look at the next slide, which says a triangle has an area of 17.5 square centimeters. Find the height of the triangle if the base is 5 centimeters. Okay, this is going to be the hardest part for you guys. Because you guys don't like to write things down. Like, in fear of your hand falling off, or I don't know. It won't happen, I promise. I've been doing this for 16 years. No child's hand has ever fallen off from showing their work or writing things down. Okay? I promise. Okay, so this problem is dealing with a triangle. And it's dealing with the area of a triangle. Agreed? Okay, so we need a formula that would work for area of a triangle. What's the formula for area of a triangle? Go ahead. Okay, and I'm going to be more specific and say A equals base times height divided by 2. Write that down. Okay, it's super important that you write down the whole formula. Okay, now we're going to plug numbers in. Do we know the A? Anywhere in the problem, does it tell me the area? Whoa, what did I do? There we go. We're back. Okay. Does it tell me the A? Yeah. So in place of the A, I'm going to put 17.5 equals. Do I know the base or the height? The base is 5. So 5 times h divided by 2. I didn't really do any math yet. All I did was recopy the problem and put the numbers in there. Okay, now I'm going to draw a line by the equal sign. Now I'm going to solve this. Okay, the variable has a best friend, right? What's the variable's best friend? The variable is h. What's its best friend? 5. They need to stay together. How do I get rid of this 2? This line means divide. It's the opposite of dividing by 2. Okay, we're going to multiply each side by 2. These get crossed off. 17.5 times 2 is 35 equals 5 times h. Okay, if you're not writing this down, write it down. So you have examples to look at. Now we got to get the h by itself. How do I get rid of the 5? Go ahead, Tyler. Divide by 5. On both sides, h equals 7. So the height of the triangle is 7 centimeters. Okay? Not really hard to do, but you have to write the formula down. Okay, let's try the next one. The perimeter of a square is 19.2 inches. Find the side length of a square. Okay, tell me a little bit about a square. Go ahead.
All the sides
All the sides are equal. Okay, so if I draw this square, and I don't know the sides right now, but I'm going to label them all X. And we know they're all the same because it's a square. Agreed? So, perimeter means we're adding all the sides. X plus X plus X plus X equals 19.2. How am I going to figure out what X is? Krista?
Can you do 19.2 divided by 4?
Absolutely. Because when you have these four X's, that's really just 4X equals 19.2. Okay, and then I can divide by 4. What's 19.2 divided by 4? Go ahead, Crystal. 4.8. So each side is 4.8 inches. Okay, questions there? Okay, let's look at the next one. The area of a parallelogram is 27.9 square feet. The base of the parallelogram is 9 feet. What's the height of the parallelogram? Okay, it's a parallelogram. What formula do we need? We're dealing with area. So what formula are we going to use? Caleb? Equals base times height. Okay, now I'm going to replace the letters with numbers. Do I know the area? Yeah, it says the area is 27.9. So 27.9 equals, do we know the base? It says the base is 9. Do we know the height? No, that's what we're trying to find. So 9 times h. And now I'm going to solve this. How do I solve that problem? What do I have to do? I want to get the h by itself. So I have to do what? How do I get rid of the 9? Really? Divide each side by 9. These cross off. We have h equals 3.1 feet. There's our answer. Okay. Questions there? All right. Here's kind of a longer one. The living room of my house is rectangular and has an area of 150 square feet. I want to purchase a rug to fit the room. I found a rug that's 10 feet wide. How long does it need to be to fit the room? What shape is the room? Rectangle, right? So it's a rectangle. And how do we find area of a rectangle? You all have this, right? You all have your packet in front of you. You all have this. How do you find area of a rectangle? Brooklyn? E times h. Right? Base times height. Okay, now I know this problem talks about length and width, but it doesn't matter. They're the same things. Okay, so it has an area of 150. It really doesn't matter if I put the 10 in for the base or the height. Okay, I'm going to put it as base. How do I solve that? Divide by 10. I'm going to draw my line. I'm going to divide each side by 10. H equals 15. There's our answer. Okay. All right, we've dealt with triangle, parallelogram, rectangle. Now let's talk about circles. Okay? So on this one, it says find the diameter of the circle if the circumference is 43.96 inches. Use 3.14 for pi. What formula should I start with? What formula am I going to start with in this problem? This problem talks about circumference, right? So what formula should I use? C equals what? Circumference equals, Tyler?
C equals pi times d.
Pi times d. Everybody write that down. C equals pi times d. Do we know the circumference? Yeah, this problem tells us the circumference is 43.96. 43.96. Do we know pi? Yep, 3.14 times d. We're going to solve it. How do I solve this? How do I get the d by itself? Tyler? Divide. Divide by 3.14. So you get d equals, and use your calculator, 43.96 divided by 3.14. Caleb, what do you get?
14.
14, and it's inches. Okay, that answers the question in this case because it said find the diameter, and we have the diameter. We're good. Okay, the second one's a little bit different. The second one says find the radius of a circle if the circumference is 15.7. Does that mean I start with a different formula? No. You guys, it still tells me that I'm working with circumference. So I still need to start with that formula. C equals pi times diameter. Okay, we're starting with that formula. What's the circumference? Caleb?
15.7.
15.7. Pi is 3.14 times d. All I did was recopy and put the numbers in it. I'm going to solve this. Solve it the same way. We're going to divide by 3.14. So what does d equal? I got, Remy, what'd you get? 5. Does that answer this problem?
No.
No. Okay. You guys, this is diameter, which is great, but this problem said find the radius. Okay, so now we have to think about this. Here's a circle. If the diameter is 5, how do we find this distance, the radius? What do we have to do to the diameter to get the radius, Brinley? Yeah, we have to do 5 divided by 2. So the radius is 2.5. So you do have to be careful. What are they asking you for, the radius or the diameter? If they would have said, what's the diameter, we would have been down here. Because this one asked for radius, we had to go one more step. Okay? All right, last set of problems. This one says, find the missing information. The area of a circle is 28.26 square feet. Find the radius of a circle. Okay, what formula am I using this time? Caleb.
Area equals pi times radius squared.
Pi times radius squared. Okay. The area is 28.26, so I can replace that, 28.26 3.26 equals pi is 3.14 times r squared. Okay. Wait, let's divide first. Okay? We're going to get rid of the 3.14. So we get r squared equals 28.26 divided by 3.14. I got 9. Is 9 the radius? No. You guys, that says 9 equals r squared. Okay? So there's a couple ways we can do this. What number times itself will give us 9? Because that's what r squared means. R squared means what number times itself gives us 9? 3. So the radius is 3. What's the opposite of squaring a number? Do we remember? How would we use our calculator to do this? Anybody remember the opposite of square? We did this. It's been a while. Might have been while we were distance learning, so then we forgot everything. Okay? The opposite of a square is the square root. Do you remember doing that? Using your calculator to do square root? No? Okay. Time out. Time out. If I asked you to find the square root of 9 using your calculator. Okay, for some of you, you have to do this. Some of you have a button. I'm trying to see if I can see whose calculator might look like this. I don't see anybody that has. Okay, so let's go with this. Most of you have this kind of calculator. You're going to do this. Second, you have to hit that button. And then you have to hit the button that says x squared, because above it there's a square root symbol. And then you have to type in 9, and then you have to hit equals. And it gives you 3. Yeah, remember now? Okay, so if I said, what's the square root of 5,000, or sorry, the square root of 2,704, what is that?
52.
You have to do it right there. So you have to get, you're going to type it in this way, 2,704. Shift. Okay. And you got it, Brinley? 52. Does anybody need help figuring out how to use their calculator? Do you remember doing that now?
Yes.
I know it was when you were distance learning, so that might have been part of the problem. Okay? If you need help using your calculator, you gotta let me know. I'll teach you how to use your calculator. This is also why, you guys, if you are somebody who comes in every day and grabs a different calculator from me, it kind of gets difficult. Because if you have your own calculator, you learn how to use your calculator. When you're using a different calculator every day, it's kind of complicated. Do you know how to use yours? Type in the number and then hit the Yep, yours has a button. Okay. All right, so let's go back to this last problem. Find the radius of a circle if the area is 254.34 square inches. So we're going to start with area. A equals pi times radius squared. Okay. We're going to substitute what we know. The area is 254.34. Pi is 3.14 times r squared. Okay, what's the first thing I have to do to start solving this? Krista, what should I do? Division. I'm going to divide by 3.14. 254.34 divided by 3.14 is 81 equals r squared. Okay, now some of you can do this in your head. Some of you are like, oh yeah, I know what number times itself gives me 81. You know that 9 times 9 is 81, so R equals 9. If you can't do that in your head, then you need to find the square root of 81. So you use your calculator and do the square root of 81, and you get 9. Okay? Questions there? All right. So that's it for notes.